The internet is dragging DaBaby again. Damn, what did this nigga do? What what did this nigga do? The last time I heard him having something bad about him, it was whenever it was like whenever somebody threw a damn Adidas on the stage because he said something crazy or some shit. Or he said no, it was whenever he was talking mess about like Miss Rachel or something, but even at that he wasn't like actually talking about her, he just mentioned it in a song or some type of someone that does like educational shit on YouTube. But that was the last time I heard about him, so now I'm curious. What happened now? What they did to my dog, man?
Now, DaBaby is currently on the receiving end of some backlash due to a music video he dropped yesterday. I want to have a little conversation about the backlash and what's actually going on. Now, for all my people who've been tuned into all the uploads, you guys know that yesterday I dropped a video on the young woman in Charlotte, North Carolina, who lost her life in that stabbing. Very horrible situation. Damn. That story honestly shook me to my core, and I just feel so bad about it because it could have all been prevented had the perpetrator.
Wait, that was old girl that got stabbed on the train. Those people were dead wrong for that shit, and they just sat there and watched her. And she didn't scream or nothing like that. I think this is that one. If I'm wrong, let me know. I'm not fully sure though, because I didn't get a chance to watch the video because I didn't really want to watch it though. I just happened to seen like people talking about it. But the fact that she didn't scream at all because she didn't want to interrupt or disturb everybody around it and shit like that, that's just sad. Like, and then the fact that everybody was watching and just got off like nothing happened. And the person that did is even worse. Like, he needs to be thrown underneath the prison if this is that case. And if it's not that case, still, that nigga needs to be thrown underneath the prison for eternity.
Been dealt with by the system. Now, DaBaby actually ended up dropping a tribute to that young woman yesterday in a music video that he put out. Now, really quickly, DaBaby is of course a rapper who was very popular a few years ago. I'm sure most people have at least seen his face or name or heard one of his songs. He's actually from Charlotte himself, where this tragedy unfortunately happened. Now, yesterday he hopped on social media and he promoted this music video he dropped called Save Me. The music video, which starts off with showing off the surveillance footage of the death of Irina Zarutska, has been getting a lot of backlash. Some of the social media outrage comments include people saying things like, DaBaby is actually sick and I'm actually gonna have to delete this app, like ninjas really are not well. Or this other one, which was a response to his tweet promoting the song, where someone said, DaBaby about to get canceled while already being canceled.
So this nigga deadass took the surveillance shit and put it in a music video and thought that shit was cool. Like, I don't care if it's an influential song or trying to push me out. That doesn't... You could talk about it, but don't put that shit on there. Like, my nigga, damn. How dumb can you get? Like, what are we doing?
Which is kind of funny when you think about it, because is DaBaby actually capable of getting canceled when he already got canceled years ago? That's a good question, right? That aside, there's been a huge debate about whether or not this video was appropriate, especially at this time because this tragedy happened so recently. If you see my video from yesterday on the tragedy, you guys already know how I feel about it. I just think it's so terrible that the system failed this young woman so bad, and honestly, something about that story still sits so heavy.
To make
on my
things
heart.
worse, she wasn't even from here.
I guess it's just the humanity in me, right? Now, I watched the music video that DaBaby dropped, so I want to give you guys my personal opinion on it and a little breakdown. Now, initially when I seen it from the outside, like the promotion, without watching the video itself, my initial reaction was, really, nigga? Like, really, ninja? Especially considering the fact that how the entire video starts off is with the surveillance footage of the actual situation and...
Yes, bro, this was the situation, too. So, it was that Yeah, these few people that's over here that sat and watched and ain't do shit, they need to be locked up, too. Yeah, I don't care what nobody say. They need to be locked up too, because there's no fucking way that they just sat and watched this shit happen and then walked off the bus like nothing happened and didn't say shit. Didn't try to intervene to help or nothing. I don't give a fuck about black, white, Latino, purple, orange, yellow. Nigga, that is a person being stabbed on the train. And you sitting there watching and let it happen. And minding your bit. No. Now, if they was running they ones, like, well, not even him and her fighting, like, hand to hand, like, they still need to jump in on that. But if it's two niggas fighting, like, squaring up, okay, I can see you minding your business there. But if this nigga pulls out a gun, or this nigga pulls out a knife, like, come on, gang, what are we doing?
I think if you're going to be on some Joyner Lucas type shit, actually do it all the way. I know that Joyner gets a lot of criticism for his videos because people think he's corny and all that. But honestly, you got to appreciate how much effort he puts into his videos, especially in this day and age when music videos aren't really that impactful or beneficial for an artist's career as, let's say, short form content. Now, when it comes to DaBaby, I think he could have definitely played that differently, considering the fact that first impressions are important. And if you're going to do a tribute to such a tragic story, the last thing you'd want is for people to misconstrue your intentions by thinking you're trying to clout chase. So that's number one. Also, while we're at number one, I do want to mention that DaBaby actually put the GoFund link for Irina Zarutska at the top of the description, which is...
Hey, W Mans. Despite the video, it's still W Mans right there. At least he helping the cause, you know what I'm saying? But still, my nigga, come on. We're going to have to clarify a little bit better than that, man. This ain't even me, like, this is more like constructive criticism type shit. Come on, gang. Come on.
Something that I myself didn't do in my video. Like, I didn't even know that there was a GoFundMe available. So at the time of me dropping this video, I'll not only put it at the top of this video's description, but I'll also put it in the video from yesterday. So right there, DaBaby did something positive, which has inspired me to take some action, which is ultimately going to help the family in this time of grief. Number two, let's talk about the concept of the entire music video. So in a nutshell, DaBaby is positioning himself as the hero. Like, he's saying, if I was there, I would have been able to intervene before it happened and Irina would have survived, which is exactly what happens in the video. Right before the criminal stabs her, DaBaby stops him by holding his arm, right? And then DaBaby himself, the killer, and Irina end up walking out the train as the authorities are standing right outside. So right there, my interpretation is he's introducing the alternative universe of what could have happened if he was there. Also, I do think it's important to note that I don't personally think that DaBaby was making it so much about himself, but I think he made himself serve as a symbol or a representation.
What is this
of the viewer,
close-up, man?
Being the hero in a situation.
Get this nigga out my face, bro. What is
differently,
this?
like, let's say, a tragic ending. And then the last shot in the music video is the killer, DaBaby, and the actress who plays Irina all sitting down together, which I don't know what was supposed to be the representation of that particular shot, because that's not usually how situations like this end, but that's beside.
I mean, I could see that he's trying to make a positive impact, saying that if you actually step in and intervene instead of letting shit happen and all that, especially in this situation where people should have stepped in, I could see how it could have changed so much shit for people. But like you said before, you got to work on your interpretation. If you don't do it correctly, then everybody will think it's bad or turn a bad eye to it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's all good intentions behind the video from what I'm seeing. I haven't watched it fully myself. I'm just watching it based off this video. I might have to go back and look at it myself. I just don't want to get copyright striked from it. But from what I'm seeing, it looked like he got good intentions, but just, interpretation is everything. If you don't have it right, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really, like, me personally, I don't see no bad intentions just yet.
The point, right?
But that's
overall,
my opinion.
This music video has been getting a very strong negative reaction, and there's two sides to this conversation. I do think there's a tone deaf side to this, because like we stated, I don't think including that beginning was appropriate at all. I was watching the news about this particular tragedy, and the family stated that they didn't want people to actually share the surveillance footage, like the uncut raw murder, which makes a lot of sense. Obviously, it was horrible what happened, right? So one of the unfortunate things of DaBaby doing something like this is it does bring awareness to the story, and that's good, but it does also attract an audience of people to the tragedy who don't necessarily feel compassion or care enough to do research on it, and perhaps that puts a spotlight on, let's say, the actual footage, which we don't want. But then again, I spoke on it as well, and I showed parts of the surveillance footage when I was reporting on the story, and the same thing could be said for me as well, or anyone else covering it, right? I don't want to say that me and DaBaby are different, but what I can tell you, since I'm speaking right now, is why I covered the story, and it was because it personally moved me emotionally, right? I got really like shook when I heard about that particular story and when I saw how, you know, she ended up getting killed, right? But when it comes to DaBaby, I don't know if he's spoken about it outside the music, like on any of his social media accounts or whatnot, but maybe that's the point of the music, right? So I do want to say that I understand why he's getting all this pushback. When it comes to things like this, I think there's a way to do it, because what he did isn't necessarily wrong, but I think with some more, like, I don't want to say finesse, but he could have made it connect more had he done it in a little bit of a different way. As an example, and I don't know if he did this, but maybe tease it a little more before speaking about how the death moved you as someone who's a father and someone who comes from North Carolina where it happened. And another aspect of this is DaBaby is someone who, despite being canceled in a lot of different spaces, he actually has a noticeable enough presence, visibility, fame, but most importantly of all, money.
Yeah, that is fair. Whenever you got a lot more public attention, it's easier to push notice towards it, but at the same time, you got to be able to push it correctly. If you don't push it correctly, it's just going to end up like how this did. You're going to get hella pushback. People are going to think that you mean one thing whenever you really mean something positive. And then on top of that, it's about majority rules. So if they all think that you're talking negative and it shows like it looks like it's negative, people are going to rock with that idea. But if it was like did a little differently, it wouldn't be misconstrued. But it's like, I feel like one of the main parts is whenever he added the beginning part, like of them walking onto the train and shit. Like the parents didn't want that on there. So I can see that. Then on top of that, it's too soon. Like, way too soon to be talking about something like that. Like, that, way too soon.
So more than just dropping a music video, I think one of the things that could have helped here is
and clarifying a lot more
lawmakers and the movers and the shakers on the legal side in the state, right, of North Carolina, and then possibly help create a ripple effect of some type of positive change in the direction of keeping people like DeCarlos Brown, who was the killer, away from the streets so women and children can walk safely in these streets. That would, in my opinion, be the biggest power move he could make. And maybe this is something he's working towards behind the scenes. I have no clue, right? I'm just trying to plant ideas into the universe. And then on the other side, I don't think him doing this was entirely bad, no matter the particular approach. Because I think one of the things, especially in the social media age, that really helps a great cause is awareness. Irina Zarutska's story has gone global, and it makes me happy to see that people are coming together to grieve her. But more awareness ultimately does something important, which is more people find out about what happened. And ultimately, people finding out about her story is good, right? And I'm happy that he's using his voice for something positive. So on one hand, you or I could criticize him for how he did it, like the fact that he's putting himself as a hero, or I should say he's portraying himself as kind of like the hero. He could have saved the day and whatnot in that particular music video that he dropped. But at the same time, is it really a bad message? I don't really think so at all. Because after watching the...
I feel like it was not necessarily him portraying himself as the hero, but more per se like him making it seem like basically telling them that somebody could have easily intervened as the shit was happening and it wouldn't have turned out like that. Like the people that was sitting next to her, the people sitting next to her, they seen the nigga stand up and they seen the nigga doing the gesture to stab her and shit. You could have easily intervened. Easily. That's what I think that he's portraying in the shit. Like it's not necessarily him doing that. It's just more per se, he's the actor in that particular case. But I feel like he's saying the people around that was sitting close by, they could have been the ones to do it. And he's acting as if he was one of the people on the train with her. Versus, him trying to be the hero in this case. I don't think that's him trying to be the hero. But that's just my personal opinion on the matter.
Full music video, my takeaway wasn't anything negative. My takeaway was be more socially aware when you're out in public, not only for yourself,
but for your
close up so fucking humans. So there's a situation where I could prevent a woman or let's say a child from getting hurt at the hands of another evil human being. I would want to step up because that's the right thing to do. I do, however, want to add a very important precaution to what I just said, which is just make sure that you personally are safe in the process of trying to stop another person from getting hurt, because as much as we want to be heroes in this world, let's not forget about ourselves, because we all have family to come home to at the end of the day. I think for DaBaby, the biggest thing here is that there was a lack of, I guess, like, I just didn't feel connected to the cause, or I want to say the music video and what he was trying to do here as much as I should have, in my opinion. Because in a time like this, the last thing you'd want is send the signal that you're only doing this to boost yourself up, which is what a lot of people are saying. Now, there's one thing that I'm very confused about as well, which is DaBaby was recently featured on a song called Save Me, so it has the same exact title as this tribute to Irina Zarutska, and that's where things get muddy, because now it could be viewed as, did you title the song Save Me because it goes right along with the concept, or because it has the same exact title as this other song you're featured on, which could perhaps lead to more attention to that song. You get what I'm saying? And I don't know, I'm not really accusing him of doing that, but I'm only sharing the optics, meaning how things look from the outside, because I would assume that DaBaby was genuinely moved by this tragedy like we all were, right? I really don't want to sit here and talk about this in a way where I imagine that he did all this just for some clout, because that'd be crazy. I mean, yes, you never know, especially because his track record does come into play, okay? And I'm not one to hold people's past against them in the current moment.
I personally don't think he did that for his own track record, because he's already said himself he doesn't care about none of that shit. He cares about his family and making his music and being able to, you know, say what he wants and shit like that. And also use, like, it was like they said that they canceled him or some shit. He said, I'm not canceled. He doesn't care about none of that shit. So I don't think that he would make something like this just to promote himself more per se. It's like dude was just saying, I think it's just for the awareness factor, because he even got the little thing in his the little GoFundMe in it there. So I feel like that's just mainly awareness. If it wasn't for awareness, I don't think he would have never added the GoFundMe. He wouldn't have did none of that shit. And he probably would have went a little more above and beyond in the video or some shit, like try to add more shit to it. So I feel like that's not that. But that's just my personal opinion. It's nothing against the guy here. It's just that's how I feel about it.
Obviously, because we all grow and whatnot, but it is fair to consider. My takeaway from the music video was positive overall. From the outside, it does look murky, especially because the beginning has the surveillance footage. But honestly, after watching the music video, I think his heart was in the right place. I really do. What I'm hoping is this. This is my message to DaBaby if he's watching this, which wouldn't be too crazy, because not a lot of people are talking about DaBaby right now. So especially like people with platforms of
just
this
throwing
size,
shots
but I think
like
would
that.
be very good, my brother. Okay. Jonathan Kirk, okay? I think what would be good is that perhaps use your visibility to get in touch with the lawmakers in Charlotte, so in North Carolina, so criminals aren't roaming these streets freely when obviously they are not fit to be in society. That, in my opinion, would be the best outcome, because honestly, I don't want to hear stories like this anymore, man. Like, it's happening way too often. It's time we start protecting society as a whole instead of protecting criminals. And that's where you come in, DaBaby. You got fame, you got some type of popularity, and you got what's most valued in the land of the free, which is money, okay? And so I think DaBaby could make a change is what I'm saying. So we don't hear more stories like this where a 23-year-old young woman who fled a war-torn Ukraine gets stabbed to death because the laws are protecting criminals. That's my honest breakdown of the internet dragging DaBaby again. But I'm curious what you guys...
That's a W video by Blackie Speaks. I'm going to make sure to leave it in the description so y'all can go check out the original video and subscribe to him. But, damn, that was a fucked up shot he did at the end. That's messed up. Go to say not a lot of people are looking at DaBaby. Man, that's fucked up, bro. You ain't have to do him like that. But, hey, I feel that he had all good intentions towards making the video in the end. And it wasn't like he was trying to be the hero. He just was the person acting as the hero, basically portraying that anyone could have easily did something to stop what was going on versus just sitting and minding their own business while she's getting stabbed up on the train. Or acting as if they don't see it. Because if somebody's standing right here in your peripheral, you can see that. There's no excuse. You can see that. You just blatantly ignored it. and I know you heard them. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I'm gonna make sure to leave his video in the description, like I said earlier. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and join the Discord in the description. And also make sure to stop by the stream sometimes. But without further ado, I'm out. Peace.